The prince was a dog. Hastily throwing a domino over his housemaid's dress, he rushed to the street. He summoned a passing hansom, and in a few moments was at his house. "I have it!" he gasped to his secretary. "The mystery is solved. I've pieced it together. By sheer analysis, I've reasoned it out. Listen, hind legs, hair on back, wet snout, pup. Eh, what? Does that suggest nothing to you?" "Nothing," said the secretary. "Seems perfectly hopeless." The great detective, now recovered from his excitement, smiled faintly. "It seems simply this, my dear fellow. The Prince of Württemberg is a dog, a prize Dachshund. The Countess of Dashley bred him, and he is worth some £25,000 in addition to the prize of £10,000 offered at the Paris Dog Show." Can you wonder that at that moment the great detective was interrupted by the scream of a woman? "Great heaven!" The Countess of Dashley dashed into the room. Her face was wild. Her tiara was in disorder. Her pearls were dripping all over the place. She wrung her hands and moaned. "They've cut his tail," she gasped, "and taken all the hair off his back. What can I do? I'm undone." "Madam," said the great detective, calm as bronze, "do yourself up. I can save you yet." "You?" "Me." "How?" "Listen. This is how. The prince was to have been shown at Paris." The countess nodded. "And your fortune was staked on him?" The countess nodded again. "The dog was stolen, carried to London, his tail cut, and his marks disfigured." Amazed at the quiet penetration of the great detective, the countess kept on nodding and nodding. "And you are ruined." "I am," she gasped, and sank down on the floor in a heap of pearls. "Madame," said the great detective, "all is not lost." He straightened himself up to his full height. A look of inflinchable inflexibility flickered over his features. The honor of England, the fortune of the most beautiful woman in England, was at stake. "I will do it," he murmured. "Rise, dear lady," he continued. "Fear nothing. I will impersonate the dog." That night, the great detective might have been seen on the deck of the Calais packet boat with his secretary. He was on his hands and knees in a long black cloak, and his secretary had him on a short chain. He barked at the waves exultingly and licked the secretary's hand. "What a beautiful dog," said the passengers. The disguise was absolutely complete. The great detective had been coated over with mucilage, to which dog hairs had been applied. The markings on his back were perfect. His tail, adjusted with an automatic coupler, moved up and down, responsive to every thought. His deep eyes were full of intelligence. Next day, he was exhibited in the Dachshund class at the international show. He won all hearts. "Quel beau chien!" cried the French people. "Ach, was ein Dog!" cried the Spanish. The great detective took the first prize.